And let me play Marjorie.
Green?
I want to play Marjorie. I just want to play Marjorie calling out Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez because it's hilarious.
Yeah, somebody from the chat, Parks and Rec was a documentary. You're absolutely right. Like, there's scenes where the public, where every time they have a public meeting,
Say it. God,
Right?
fucking amazing. And it's you
and
can't parody what's really happening.
Yeah.
You
it's just
really
insanity.
can't do it.
It's just insanity.
All right.
Just wanted to hear Robot Lady say welcome. Welcome. That's all.
I did too. I wanted to hear Robot Lady say it too. All right, so here we go. Here's Marjorie Taylor Greene.
We're going to debate. I told her, she asked me if I had read her 14-page Green New Deal. I said, I've read some of it. And she said, well, when you read all of it, then you can challenge me to a debate. Well, the good news is I've read all 14 little pages, and I'm very ready to.
What I love is she's like, I read all 14 little pages. Well, it took you long enough. You didn't just read it in one sitting. You had to be cajoled into reading all 14.
Yeah. Well, I wanted to debate you before I knew what the topic was. You thought that was like a big selling point? Like, I'd like to debate you about my book. Did you read my book? No, I didn't read your book.
Yeah.
Well, why would I spend time on this? What are you?
Exactly.
Why 14 pages? There used to be a fucking joke back in college.
Yeah.
Like, we used to joke about 13 pages. And the joke was like, you didn't fucking read that thing. You read the first 13 pages. You knew enough to understand the basic outline, and that's what you're fucking talking about. It was a way for people to feign expertise because it was the minimum amount of work.
Yeah.
It was the minimum amount.
Yeah.
It's 20 minutes if you read slow.
Yeah. It's not not dense reading either. This is just a quick policy.
To debate her on the House floor. So this is what we're going to be doing. The date hasn't been set, but when it is set, I will let you know.
AOC hasn't even agreed to it. The date hasn't been set because the person that you have challenged to this public debacle, which does nothing for her CV and everything for
nothing
yours.
for
Say
CV.
God,
Yeah.
this is for blessings for my glory hole.
There's nothing there for it. There's nothing. You're right. It's a lose-lose for her because if she doesn't take the debate, she looks like she's chicken out. Right? Yep. AOC looks like she's not willing to take the debate because she's going to get her ass. She knows she's going to get her ass kicked. Or if she takes it, she's essentially giving this person a platform. All the people that are going to watch her are already going to believe her or agree with her. So why would you ever talk to this person? Yeah, There's no benefit in having a conversation with this woman.
And all it does is give a bigger microphone to Marjorie Taylor Greene. Marjorie Taylor, this is a way for her to increase the notoriety of her personal
100%.
brand. That's
100%.
all it is. Nothing to do with the issues. It has nothing to do with the Green New Deal. It's just a way for her to amplify her personal political brand.
There's a comment here. Ken Ham versus Bill Nye 2.0. That's exactly it. When Bill Nye took that thing, you knew there was nothing that was ever going to get. There was nobody that on the other side that was going to, at least I don't think so, that there was going to be anybody on the other side that was going to say, hey, this Bill Nye's got a lot of interesting points. They're still entrenched in it. They're not going to fucking believe it.
No,
so,
it is. And to the point from the chat, it's a good chess move by Marjorie Taylor Greene because she has everything to gain and nothing to lose.
Nothing to lose.
She gains a lot of credibility.
Even if she looks like an absolute buffoon, which she absolutely would. She's 100% would look like a buffoon. If you can't read 14 pages before you talk to somebody about the thing you want to debate them on.
Yep. I don't think she cares because to your point, like, she knows she can't lose with her base, right? She could show up and just like fucking read a back of a cereal box. She doesn't even have to engage with the material. Her base is already on her side. All she does though is she amplifies. Holy shit, did you see the pay-per-view with me and AOC?
Yep.
It's just branding.
All right.
Show up. If she chickens out, then she shows exactly who she really is, a scared little girl that is pretty stupid and doesn't know anything about the economy or economics.
Did she just say in economics? Did she just say those two things though? Did she just say the economy and economics? Aren't those
both of them? So both the economy and economics.
That is pretty stupid and doesn't know anything about the economy or economics.
And
she boasts that she does because she has a degree in economics. but she doesn't have enough common sense to actually be able to produce anything in the real world. She just has a government job.
Like me.
You have the same government job.
We're
You can't
literally the
slam
same.
somebody for
We're
the same
counterparts.
job.
Literally the same job. It's literally the same job.
You're the same
Yeah.
pay rate.
Yeah.
You're the same pay rate. Oh my God. I love that she puts she has a degree in quotes. A degree. You don't have to quote it. That means it's less legitimate, but it's a degree. This isn't helping anything.
Yeah.
What is this?
She's
Also,
such a fucking embarrassment, man. She's such an That's a lady. That lady right there has more power than anybody you've ever met, right? That you've met in person.
Yep.
Everybody you've ever met in person. That lady right there. She's one of 435 people who get to vote on the way things happen in this country.
Yep. And she thinks that economics is a matter of common sense. Oh yeah, well, just do everything with common sense. You don't need no book smarts. You know who says you don't need book smarts? People who don't have smarts.
Yeah, right.
Dumb people say that. It's just true. Dumb people who are uneducated, who don't know how the world works, and don't want to admit that there is a level of complexity they don't have the tools to engage with. That's who says that's who fucking gets down on education.
Well, that's
people
that
who have
whole
educations don't get down on educations.
Well, that's that whole book smarts versus street smarts or whatever.
Oh, God, I hate that.
Like those two things are incompatible.
Right.
That's a dumb thing to think, right? It's just a dumb thing to think that no matter what, someone who is worldly can't be also book smart. It's what it is it's an insult to people who have, a degree, like you said. It's an insult to those people. It's some way in which to bring those people down. That's all it is.
It is, but it's also a way for people without an education to validate their lack of an education and say, like, they're trying to democratize the value of every voice, right? So they're trying to say all voices are the same. All voices have the same merit. All voices should be heard and considered the same way, but that's nonsense. Of course they shouldn't. Of course people who don't know what they're talking about should not be listened to with the same frequency and validity. Of course they should. That's a silly idea. You wouldn't accept that. Like, if your mechanic was like, I think it's your flux capacitor, and then the fucking nanny was like, no, I don't think it's the flux capacitor, I'd be like, I'm sorry. Did you go to fucking automotive repair school? Because this guy did.
Yeah.
We don't accept that for anything else. We don't ever accept that shit.
You're right.
It's fucking insane.
Tom,
you think they're going to end up debating? Because she said she wanted to put on pay-per-view, and then she wanted to
pay-per-view?
split dude, and she also wanted to say, she said she wanted to split the proceeds. The proceeds. So you want to put on pay-per-view, fucking charge for it, and then split the proceeds. She wanted to make money off it.
Yeah,
Not like donate it to charity, Cecil. And I don't know why it would be on pay-per-view and not like C-SPAN.
C-SPAN? Yeah.
Right?
Also, like if you're gonna do it in our house, fuck you. I get to watch that. That's what C-SPAN's for.
Right.
Eat a dick.
You're my
you.
fucking representative as much as it makes me vomit in my own mouth to say it.
Yeah, fuck you. Get out of here.
Hey, here it is. It's two Congress people. We're going to be debating key issues. Yeah. You should pay to watch it like it's a street fight or something.
Yeah.
Like, what?
I know. Right? Yeah. I hope Marjorie Taylor Greene comes out with just one boxing glove, though. She just has one boxing glove, like the first UFC.
Now, I would put, if they put him in an octagon.
Yeah.
Yeah. Pay-per-view all day.
Also, Marjorie Taylor Greene wins that.
Yeah, Marjorie Taylor Greene.
Marjorie Taylor Greene wins that. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
She looks like she could double leg somebody pretty easily. She looks strong. She looks big. Tom, let's talk a little bit before we go about the Biden address yesterday. Does it look hopeful to you looking forward? I know both of us are pretty progressive. It felt like a very progressive talk, very progressive speech.
Yeah, I mean, I think Biden right now on a proposal side is really suggesting a fundamental reorganization of the role of government in American lives in huge ways. The pieces that he's put out there if he can get even half of them done, if he even got a quarter
How much would
of
it
the
take
stuff
for
that he's
Anthony
put out
Mackie
there
to
done.
give a version of his speech from the last episode of Falcon and the Winter Soldier to Congress?
Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
I didn't even see that. If he got a quarter of the stuff that he proposed through, it would be a dramatic FDR-style reorganization of the social safety net. It would change lives. It would change my life. It would change the lives of the next generation. And the amount of money he's talking about, like running into childcare, money into reducing child poverty through child tax credits, the expansion of the pre-K system, paid family medical leave. These are, I mean, if you got one of those things done in 4 years, you'd be dunking on everybody.
Yeah.
And the list goes on and on and on and on. I think it's baller.
Yeah. Talk is cheap. I want to see something come of it, right? You know, you could say a lot of things, but we need to make sure that some of this happens, right? That's the key, is that talk is cheap. And we've heard a song and dance before, and what I want to see is some of these things come to fruition. I want something to happen that is, you know, like you say, universal pre-K. If you could get that done, that's a fucking slam dunk, man. It's from the fucking free throw line. You can get universal pre-K done, that's fucking genius.
Yep.
But you got to get it done, right?
Yep.
You could talk about it, but you got to get it done. I know that we were talking yesterday, Tom and I were texting back and forth yesterday night about Biden's abysmal record so far on refugees. I mean, it's been really, like, his record so far on refugees has been really well subpar, lower than what Trump had. And it was a lot of promises on the campaign trail and a lot of promises, but there have been these people get vetted overseas for a long time. And then there's organizations here in the States that go out of their way to try to help them integrate into society, bring them here. And he threw a stop to all of that. And it was huge. I mean, it's huge to all these organizations. These are all charitable organizations that had to figure it out on the fly. And he's on par right now to bring in less than half of the refugees that Trump did on his worst year. Yeah. And that's, you know, you can say, like, we have an example of him saying something and then doing something else. And what I don't want to see is him saying all these great things and then doing nothing. That's what I don't want to see.
I don't want to see that either. I think his success with the almost $2 trillion coronavirus relief bill, which contained a lot of progressive ideas. That was a massive, massive, massive win. And that was real action that he got done. And he got it done very, very quickly. I think for the most part, he's gotten done. And he's been an incredibly effective 100 days in many, many ways.
I agree.
It's a lot more than speech. I think from because I'm really stymied by his failure on the refugee front. And I've read a bunch of analysis after you and I talked too, on why that might be, because I know what he said and what he's been passionate about. And I also know some of the executive orders that he issued on his 4th day in office that were very pro-immigration and progressive on immigration.
Sure.
And some of the thinking, and I think it kind of bears out to some of the other communication strategies that he seems to be employing, is he's sticking in the early times, because he's really only got another 12 to 14 months before we lose the House in 2022, which is almost certainly going to happen based on the redistricting that seems to be available. Everything I'm reading says he seems to be sticking to big policy proposals that are broadly popular, that cannot be weaponized by the right in this sort of culture war way that other people are doing. And if he can get all that stuff done, he can do the refugee stuff by fiat with the swipe of a pen, even after they lose the House in 2022. But if he does that now, he risks losing that political capital in the very, very short time frame that he really has it, because it's gone in 2022.
And that's fine, but if he doesn't do it in 2022, then he was just playing us.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think if he doesn't do it, that will be let me just be very clear. If he doesn't do it, it will be a massive, massive failure.
It's a massive
failure.
Massive
failure.
Absolutely.
And it will be a moral failing.
Yeah.
I just don't see him doing that, because he's been clear and he's been strong and he has a track record with immigration in other parts of his political life which match his promises.
We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
I mean, so far it's abysmal. And the thing is like especially these refugees that have been vetted, like that to me feels like an absolute, I mean, it feels like an absolute failure because those people they've been on this track for so long. Mm-hmm. And then to lose that at the very last minute,
it's terrible.
To not be able to come here. You know, these are lives. These are people's lives. These aren't people that are just, you know, these aren't people who are banging on the door, you know, down in somewhere, you know, that are coming to one of our weird borders that we have and asking for relief. These are people who applied for relief, that said they are being, and then they were heavily vetted, and then they were also brought in to a system that has charities that are ready to help them get on their feet once they get here, right? So like all the negative bullshit that everybody brings up about immigration is useless. It doesn't even make any sense here, right? They were heavily vetted. They were, you know, they applied for it in advance. They have something here to get them on the feet, and it still fails. It's an
some
absolute.
of those people even had airplane tickets that got canceled. They were that close. So I want to be really clear. Like I'm right there with you. Like the immigration piece is a failure. Like it's just, there's no other word for it right now. It is a failure. I think that it also is simultaneously true that by far he is the most progressive president in generations. There is the proposals, the things that he's suggesting, the things that he's fighting for are more progressive than anything that Obama put out there. It's more progressive than anything Clinton has put out there.
Yeah.
He is the most progressive. He's not as progressive as I'd like to see,
sure,
but he is by far the most progressive president that we've seen in our lifetimes. And that is something.
Yeah.
That really is something.
Someone says, I guess we're still fine with for-profit healthcare too. No, we're not good with it. I'm not good with it. I definitely want to make sure that is something, and that's something that I think is just reeks and has been terrible forever. But it's also one of those things that's so hard to get rid of. It's so difficult to shift that away from what we have. I remember Clinton trying to do it, 2 decades ago. I remember Obama trying to do it. And you remember how quickly they defanged Obamacare?
Oh yeah.
Where it was gonna be something.
Yep.
It was gonna be something I think pretty worthwhile, and it's been.
Yep.
It was fucking ruined by them. I mean, they fucking just literally walked up and pulled away all the teeth that it had, and it had very little power at the very end. And it's and we've been fighting. You know, healthcare in this country is a fucking disaster. It's an horrible. Absolute fucking disaster.
Yep.
The systems that you have to navigate, the time you have to spend just as a normal person just trying to navigate those systems, even with insurance, is fucking ridiculous. Horrible. Let alone if you don't have insurance. Holy fuck. Yep. I am sorry for you. Because the governmental system that exists is difficult for those people, but then you're looking at fucking, if you're trying to pay for it out of pocket, what you have to do there, like the amount of bullshit and hoops that you have to run through. There's other systems in the world that work a lot better than ours. Yep. And we don't ever pay any attention to them. We don't ever look at them. We don't ever think about them as a way forward. What we do is we look at us and we say, oh, we have the greatest system in the world. That's what everybody has to, everybody says that.
Yeah, our healthcare system isn't even, you can't even properly call it a system, right? You can't even properly call it a system the same way that you can call like the British system, the national health system. That's a system. Yours. You can pick up the phone and you can literally call it because it's a system. You can engage it. You can file a complaint with it. There is no such thing as the healthcare system is, if you can afford it, you can have it. Well, that's the same kind of system as like, the couch system. If you can afford a couch, you can go buy a couch. That's not a fucking system.
Right.
There are agencies which will help you pay to engage for-profit healthcare. They will help subsidize the rest of the for-profit healthcare system. It's fucking ridiculous. It is not a proper system, and it's failing. It's failing all of us.
Yeah.
Yeah. Someone says they'll sponsor us to immigrate to Canada. I would.
Yeah, I don't think that that's possible. You're lying to me.
No.
You can't do that.
I filled out the thing and I don't have enough
Yeah.
points. Like, I don't have enough points to move to Canada. Like, I filled out the thing and they're like, get the fuck out of here. Stay south, asshole.